I could really use some advice from other people right now. With the state of the world, I swing from despair to anger over current events. Sometimes I feel like there is no point in living anymore, that even at 21, I have no hope for any type of future. I cannot do anything about the terrible things that happen, but I cannot just shut that out of my mind and move on. How did you overcome the overthinking and depression that you may have experienced? Thank you to everyone who commented with advice, stories, and general knowledge. I am truly thankful for your input, and I am going to try to apply the wisdom you have shared with me in daily life and long term. Again, thank you. Story 1. I am older, but I have a son your age. Get off social media. Stop listening to the news. Focus on one small step in your life at a time. It might be as simple as learning to drive or getting a small position at a job that is just a placeholder. Think about what you want to be, where you want to be, and who you want to be by age 30. Travel as much as you can afford. Leave relationships with women out of this for a few years. They only complicate things, and you do not know who you really are yet. Story 2. As others have said, get off social media and turn off the news. Go for a hike, hang out with a friend, have a beer, pet a dog, play video games, read a book, and do what you love. It will help keep your spirits up. Basically, take time for yourself. Story 3. I avoid the news at all costs. I focus on my own survival. I have stopped focusing on what I have no power to change or control. Story 4. By reminding myself I live in one of the easiest times in human history to be alive. Those who came before me used every calorie available to them to get more calories so they could do it again the next day. They fought for their lives with sharp objects, raised their families in the dirt, and could die from simple scrapes getting infected. If they could do it, we can do it. The problem is not that life is too difficult. Relative to the entirety of human existence, it is incredibly easy. And that is the problem. It has stolen our purpose and drive as men. Our purpose is no longer the survival of ourselves and those we love, but wealth accumulation. If we struggle to accumulate wealth, it feels like failure. Story 5. Stop reading the news. They want you this way. Your world will be much smaller and easier to manage. Story 6. No retreat, no surrender. That is Spartan law. And by Spartan law, we will stand, fight, and die. Every time I feel like giving up on everything, I think about ancient men like the 300 Spartans who accomplished great, if not inhuman, feats to overcome one of the ancient world's largest armies. If they could do that, getting up and putting in effort for everyday things should be easy. Great men are born from struggles and overcoming great obstacles and adversaries. These are principles of stoicism and preparation instilled in ancient men from birth to become legends. People don't speak this way anymore, and it's no wonder we are lost in our understanding of masculinity. You have to make peace with your struggles and defeat them in your mind before anything else. Then you too can accomplish truly impressive things. Story 7. A healthy dose of apathy. The problem is we are taught to care about way too much that is out of our control or aim for things that are not as achievable as they used to be. I cannot do anything about what is happening on the other side of the world, so why concern myself with it? Housing prices are indeed skyrocketing, so why try to force myself to buy something I cannot afford at the moment? There is nothing wrong with focusing on what is in your control and choosing to call the rest noise. Look at it this way. If someone told you, bench press this 315-pound barbell, when you have never lifted in your life, how would you respond? Probably with a sensible no, because nobody who has never lifted before can do that. Does that make you weak? No. Powerless? No. It means you know your limits, and that is way better than any kind of ego lifting that will only get you hurt or even killed. That is what the world is trying to do to many of us right now. Hoist the entire weight of its problems on people who are not equipped to deal with them, then call whoever cannot handle it weak. It is nonsense. Accepting your limits and slowly working to surpass them does not make you weak or useless, let alone not valuable. It makes you a mature, level-headed adult. Few things in this world are worth more than that. We have people in place who have been endowed with the power to affect these bigger issues. I do not care how naive it sounds. Let them handle it. It is what they wanted, what they asked for, and what we gave them power for. They do not do it. Remove them and elect others. Repeat and continue. Focus on what can be done in your current situation. What can you do right now to make your and your friends' and family's lives a little better? Then, once that is done, repeat the question. You will realize just how much power you have to affect progress and change when you realize any act of helping anyone is a great thing. You woke up one morning and chose to be a force for good in a chaotic world. That is more than enough to ask of any person. Story 8. A combination of self-discipline and determination, with a dash of willful disobedience thrown in for good measure. Story 9. Unplug yourself from current events in the world. If you feel the weight of the world is too much, unburden yourself with therapy or someone you trust. Remember, we have all been there. Story 10. It is hard, but the best thing you can do is just put everything down. Instead of scrolling, go rolling. Buy a skateboard or adopt a pet. I wish you the best. Story 11. I just think to myself, it can't always stay this bad, can it? It has to get better eventually, right? And honestly, it kind of has. My life isn't great by any means, but it's a lot better than it was 10 years ago. I usually don't even notice it because I'm still constantly worrying about the issues I have right now, but I'm in a much better place than I used to be. I didn't have any major accomplishments, just a bunch of small things that happened here and there that have started to add up, along with a combination of hoping things would get better and being too scared to die. Like I said before, my life isn't great. It still kind of sucks. But when I compare it to how it used to be, it gives me a little more hope and determination to keep going and see how much better it can get. Story 12. Focus on yourself and stop giving 2 cents to things you cannot control. Be obsessed with your work. Story 13. The world is better and less violent now than at almost any other time in human history. There was a time when living to 30 meant you probably had to defend yourself because someone likely tried to harm you. I cannot emphasize enough how extremely cruel and violent the world used to be. So relax. It is a really good time to be alive. Story 14. Stop giving in to the idea that you have to care about everything. The less I am on social media or paying attention to the news, the better off I am. I focus on specific things, but I am not going to get outraged about Cecil the Lion, Harambe, Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni, or the situation in California. I am not American, so beyond advising my students not to apply to universities in the United States, it is not my fight. I am aware of these issues, but I have had to control my emotions and outrage for the things that truly deserve them. There is always something happening somewhere in the world to be upset about. Are you controlling what you can control? Story 15. Skip social media and the news. A friend who worked in eldercare said she advised her patients to do the same, as most of it is toxic. The news is especially good at getting people worked up. I read the news, but only on select sites. For social media, I follow some interests such as bands and skip the thirst traps. You do you. Find hobbies and moments that bring out the best in you and embrace them. Find a job or career and give it your best. Don't skip out on opportunities to have fun. That concert you want to go to? Go. You never know when you'll see them again. That night out with friends? Jump on it. Story 16. All due respect, you are only 21. What do you know about the world and whether it is worth sticking around or not? Just wait it out and see while trying to steadily improve your situation. Also, with the current events bringing you down, do not pay attention to the news for a while. Story 17. 1. Stop reading the news and looking at rage or shockbait online. Switch to cute animals or hopeful stories, something other than permanent online anger. The human brain is wired to pay attention to negative stimulation, so content and algorithms will feed into it. Yes, horrible things are happening in the world. What are you actually able to accomplish alone? For example, as a Canadian working in accounting without risking my life, there is not much I can do about highly violent people and civil wars. However, I have worked at coordination centers for local wildfire events. If given an opportunity to help that you are comfortable with, try it. Frankly, live your life. Keep moving forward and set things to accomplish each day. Plan activities for the future that you want to do. For example, Set aside time to go camping a month from now or attend a tournament or convention. Story 18. You said it yourself. I can't do anything about the horrible things that happen. It is out of your control. Focus on what is within your control. Stop being fed negative information about things that do not impact you. Should you care? Sure. There is nothing wrong with supporting causes you believe in, but letting it drag you down is where it should stop. Talk to a random person and realize things are not as bad as you have been led to believe. Story 19. Let that experience galvanize you. Tempered by fire, the trials you are going through right now are training for the rest of your life. My life up to this point has been absolutely brutal. I don't know how I have kept going, but I am. Set goals for yourself and do not let anything stand in your way. One of the biggest things I have learned is that if you are in a rut, change the scenery, where you live, what you do, or even just your approach to your daily life. If you are not fulfilled, then something is not quite right. Figure out what that something is and change it. Story 20. Step away from social media and stop comparing yourself to others. Life is a roller coaster, sometimes good, sometimes bad. Do something to help you focus, either to distract yourself from your thoughts or to help process your current situation, such as training in a gym, running, boxing, yoga, or calisthenics. You are still young and have a lot to go through, but that does not mean you will not learn to cope with what life throws at you. To be perfectly honest, I gave up many times, but I do not regret it, and I do not care about missing out. I would not be the person I am today if I had not given up on occasion, and I see those moments as life lessons rather than failures. Story 21. The only thing in the world that has changed is the amount of information fed to you. Get out of social media and the news, or at least limit them. I became a lot happier after I did it, and I do not miss anything. Story 22. I focus on what is directly around me. I try to enjoy and care about what is close to me rather than trying to solve something bigger than myself. It is not easy, but the solution is to make what you care about smaller and to focus on it. No human has the energy and brain power to solve everything. Story 23. Walk outside and see how little the news cycle really affects you. The only point of being alive is to be alive. Story 24. I just turned 71 and have experienced many good and bad things throughout my life. I am in good health, but I know I have fewer years ahead of me than behind. I am not trying to downplay your difficulties, but I would give almost anything to be 21 again with more time than less. Days last forever, and years pass in the blink of an eye. Story 25. I am a fan of history. People have lived through much worse current events. You now have access to all the knowledge of the human race. Artificial intelligence can help you take advantage of it. You can go to the dentist. Story 26. Overthinking is the biggest waste of human energy. Trust yourself, make a decision, and gain more experience. There is no such thing as perfect. You cannot think your way into perfection. Just take action. Sylvester McNutt. I understand your pain of wanting to change the world and do more. That is what every person who enters the real world immediately faces. But the reality is life will continue to move forward. I am not saying ignore your passion for wanting to change the world, but do not sacrifice your current age for the uncontrollable. Story 27. Focus on your nutrition and exercise. Much like monitoring caloric intake, I try to monitor and cut out content that is not beneficial for me, such as social media algorithm maintenance and anything remotely negative or divisive. Focus on a hobby or make your content algorithm work for you. For example, I have been watching videos on the history of the universe, biology, and cooking recipes, as they are all passions of mine. Get plenty of sleep. I also listen to frequency music while I sleep to help relax me, and it is nice to wake up to as well. Hang in there, brother. If you put in the time to maintain the garden that is your mental state, you will see how beautiful the colors can be. Story 28. Through pure audacity and cheek. The same impudence that lands us in trouble with society is the reason we keep stubbornly disrespecting life's limitations. Sometimes it is the noise that makes us human. Story 29. I used to feel that way because my life was objectively difficult by Western standards. I thought I had given up, but I had not. Life got better in some ways, but not in others. You just have to aim for your goals and no matter what, give it your best effort. Delete social media and avoid platforms like Reddit. Instead, do things you enjoy and things you want to do. There is always something that makes people happy. Also, pets, especially dogs, are proven to help elevate your mood. I am not sure if any of this helped, but I hope it did. Story 30. I heard someone say once that death is so final, where life is full of possibilities. I heard someone else say, even the very wise cannot see all ends. Do not despair. Do you know how many unfathomably unlikely things had to happen for you to even be here drawing breath? Every minute, every second is a gift to be savored. Feeling the sun or the wind on your face, a coffee with a loved one or a friend, a delicious pastry. There are miracles in every moment if you allow for them. Rejoice, O young man, in thy youth, and let thy heart cheer thee in the days of thy youth, and walk in the ways of thy heart, and in the sight of thine eyes. Ecclesiastes chapter 9, verse A. Story 31. Not sure which current events you are referring to. No matter how difficult life gets, you can turn it around. I have a cousin who became addicted to methamphetamine, sold everything she owned, and was living in a drug house with her child. Her child was taken away, and she became pregnant by someone likely connected to her drug use. Eventually, she was arrested. She entered a drug rehabilitation program and has been sober for 5 years. She misses her children and family members who no longer speak to her, but she did not give up. She now has a steady job and an apartment. She saved enough money to get dentures. I do not know how bad your life is, but I suspect it is not as difficult as hers was, and if she could keep going and turn her life around, you can too. Story 32. It's simple because I have to. There are people who rely on me and need me here, so I keep pushing through, even when I'd much rather give up. Story 33. I just keep going day by day, doing what I have to do, and enjoying the little pleasures of life whenever I can. No matter how bad life gets, giving up is never an option. Story 34. I have tried giving up and almost lost everything and everyone. My world currently is an absolute mess that I have to clean up now. All my past actions and destructive coping behaviors have led me to realize that I actually want to live and be happy and successful. I understand that I not only have to work hard for it, but even harder now, given all the challenges I have to overcome. Story 35. Not sure if this is going to work for anyone but me. Looking at the skies and thinking, man, this world sure is big. We look so small, like an ant, or maybe even smaller than that. Maybe I should start saving money and travel when I have a chance. This mindset makes me keep going. I know one day we will be alone, but that's okay. Also, try to take a break from the internet. It really helps. Story 36. Brother, you are 21 years old. Your whole life is ahead of you, both good and bad. All you can do right now is keep moving forward as best as you can. We have all had times when we felt like you do now. You will get through this. Keep moving forward. Story 37. I do not worry about the things I cannot change. I just do what I can to improve my life and the lives of those around me. I work and pay my taxes, keep food on the table and a roof over our heads. It is enough for me and I feel satisfaction doing it. Story 38. Well, I never used Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, or TikTok, and I got rid of Facebook. The only real social media I use is Reddit. When I'm feeling really bad, I just unsubscribe from places like world news or politics and focus on things I enjoy, like gaming. I also avoid spending time with people who irritate me, like my racist uncle. I have started telling people directly things like, I am not going to this family event because I refuse to spend any time with a particular uncle, and you won't let me call him out when he says things like, if National Basketball Association players weren't playing in the National Basketball Association, they would all be in jail. Story 39. Nothing lasts forever. Good times, bad times, nothing lasts. With that in mind, everything comes to an end. During bad times, you look forward to the good times after. During the good times, you enjoy them while they last. The issue is you just don't know when. Story 40. Do not give the evil psychopaths the satisfaction of breaking you. They want to return to feudalism, where the top 1% have everything and the rest of us live in huts with dirt floors and die before we turn 50. They want you to just accept that future or give up so they can have it. That is why they have created this world in which it seems like you have no possible future. Do not give them what they want. Spite can keep you going for a very long time. In an episode of Star Trek, Deep Space Nine, prisoners have a plan to sneakily escape, but to do that they need their Klingon compatriot to fight and attract attention. He has to keep the fight going as long as possible, so he cannot quit. At one point, he is battered to the point of barely being able to move and stands back up. His opponent says, "I cannot defeat this Klingon. I can only kill him." Defeat is when you do not get back up. In the 2000s reboot of Battlestar Galactica, they had a saying about their attitude toward the Cylons. Fight them until you cannot. You give up when you die. Until then, you fight however you can, openly, covertly, whatever you have. Story 41. Action is the antidote to despair. Find groups in your community that are working towards fixing some of the problems you are worried about. Even if I feel generally fearful and admittedly at times hopeless about climate change and other big issues, I always feel better after attending events that local environmental groups and mutual aid groups are organizing. Story 42. I go home to my 3 cats that greet me every day. I play games with my friends and turn the television on only for the sports I want to watch. I paint my models, make my dinner, and do things for myself. I just make do and carry on. There is not much to it after a while. Story 43. Reducing triggers helps considerably, especially when it comes to stress or anxiety related to things beyond your control. Recently, for the first time in my life, I disengaged from all social media and news for about 4 months. I removed everything from my phone except for text messages and email. This had a profoundly positive impact on my overall mental state. Since then, I have returned somewhat. For example, I use Reddit for a few days, then take it off again for a few weeks. I have started visiting non-polarized news websites like Reuters or the Associated Press, so I am not completely in the dark, although only for a few moments every other day. Try to locate the triggers and do what you can to remove them. Story 44. Find one thing that is bothering you and find a way to fix it, avoid it, or change your attitude about it. Repeat this process for each small, mundane problem that might have a solution. Celebrate these small victories. Manage what you can and make small, sustainable improvements that build upon each other. Create resilient networks. Learn to communicate better by writing out your frustrations and confusions. Story 45. You can't do anything about the situation going on. Let's grant that is true. Is anyone who can currently 21 years old? Or are they 50, 60, 70, 80, etc.? If you give up now, you won't be in a position in 30, 40, 50, or 60 years to do anything either. So focus on where you want to end up and work each day to get just a little bit closer to being someone who can do something about it. Story 46. Hey, very relatable. I just keep doing something, whether it is physical or mental activity, work-related or not. Not doing anything leads to overthinking, which leads to depression. Break the cycle. Just do something. Story 47. All you can do is affect the world around you and be as good a person as you can be. You can work towards being someone who can change the world, but that is rare. There is no use in stressing about things that you have no control over when there are many other things that you do have control over and deserve your attention. Giving up will not make anything better, but it will destroy any chances that it will. Trying does not guarantee success, but not trying guarantees failure and misery, so it is the only option. Your life is all you have, and we do not know what comes after. You may as well at least try to make the ride worth it. Otherwise, it is truly just a waste. Story 48. What has worked best for me is taking action on any pending task, going out of the house, having interactions with friends, or making new ones. Having real conversations, creating and maintaining your social network or support network is important. The latter network of friends is what I call my chosen family. Close contact with them or your real family is essential for your motivation, balance, and aligning yourself with your identity and goals. Another very important thing to do is to exercise and be more physical. Spending mental energy on physical activity, whether a hobby, sport, or simply going to the gym, helps maintain a better emotional and mental state. You are very young. Keep your head and chest up and go get what you want. Your best years are just ahead of you. Believe me. Story 49. Don't worry about the things you cannot control and focus on the things you can control. First, tune out the world. Stop that noise. You will not change anything because it is too big a problem for just you. Turn your focus inward and radiate out from there. What good can you do for yourself? What good can you do for your family to help them or make their lives easier? What about your friends? How can you help them? What about your neighbors? What do they need help with? Do you even know? Find out. Then start reaching out to the community to help people in need. Lean into faith if that makes sense for you. There is very little impact you can make on the world stage until you have made a noticeable impact on everything else around you. Consider your community your people. When big issues impact your people, join them in fighting back. Even if the world is falling apart, you can make a real impact on real people just like yourself. Story 50. There are two types of problems. Those you can fix. If you can fix them, why worry about them? And there are problems you cannot fix. So why worry about them? Now, what kind of purpose do you want in life? Do you want to serve people at the bottom? Or do you want to make a lot of money and give to causes you support? Or somewhere in between? Story 51. If you cannot willingly choose to shrug off the bad things happening nowadays, that is still a choice, just like opening social media such as Reddit. Only you can choose to stop letting it affect you. Thanks to taking world civilization in high school and researching other countries and civilizations throughout human history, I have come to understand that in one way or another, history is doomed to repeat itself. Everything happening today stems from something in the past, and when you examine human history closely, you might realize how immature our species is. I may certainly be wrong in my inference, but to me, it seems we have not evolved enough to be peaceful on a global scale. By that logic or lack thereof, I choose to wash my hands of current events and remain mostly neutral. I am not a politics person, but look at current events and dig into the past. You might be surprised by what you learn. Also, social media algorithms take every post and comment you make or interact with and curate the homepage of the app to show more of that content, creating a bias bubble and positive or negative feedback loop for you, the consumer. It is not all doom and gloom. You are being fed and consumed by mostly bad or negative news, and likely some propaganda or misinformation sprinkled in to ensure you stay trapped in the loop. Maybe try dialing back on how much you interact with social media and the internet. Think of it like a month-long vacation from digital overload. Then come back if you can even stomach doing so, or be free from the endless torture. Now to answer how I am still going. Family, friends, aspirations, spite, love, my passions, my current partner, God, and the pursuit of creation and knowledge keep me anchored to my mortal life. The other, and arguably hardest thing to do, is to learn how to let things go. That is something I am still struggling with. If you have none of the above, then you will have to make that anchor yourself. The choice is ultimately yours to stop and start taking care of yourself. Story 52. Turn off the news. It is designed to make you upset, and 99.9% of it you do not need. The small fraction you do need, you will hear about. In fact, for most of the world, we have it pretty good right now. Story 53. Do what you can to improve your surroundings. Worrying and stressing over things beyond your control is a waste of time. Story 54. When I feel myself falling down, I look back to my past. It has been a miserable hell, but I have made it 23 years so far. I was abused and neglected. I even married a girl who turned out to be unstable on our honeymoon. I do not see it as a waste of time, though. It made me stronger, even if a little dull and defensive. Now, I look forward and try to see where my path takes me. I know it will never be easy, but I will be better for clearing whatever obstacles lie in my path. Story 55. I figure that there is some payoff somewhere for the challenges I have gone through. I remind myself that life may not be good now, but it will be later. I remember the people I have lost and the pain I felt, and I do not want to give others that same pain. I have a bunch of different things going on, but I have also experienced clinical, recurring depression, so I have had many years to figure it out. Story 56. Early 20s is the hardest time in a man's life. He is expected to be an adult while not having much life experience and being new to many things. Life becomes easier for men with age. It is important to spend this time figuring out who you are as a person and to forget about expectations. Story 57. I'm 65. First, let me commend you for being conscious and aware of the world around you. It's refreshing to see a young man so aware of current events. Some advice, if I may. When I was your age, my parents and grandparents were always concerned about the world coming to an end because of the events back then. Civil rights demonstrations, the Vietnam War, the Kennedy assassination, and Martin Luther King Jr. Things were tumultuous, to say the least. We got through it. We will get through this. My parents and grandparents lived through the Great Depression, 2 World Wars, and the Korean War. There was food and gas rationing, and my mother said every other house on her street had a gold star in the window. That meant a family had lost a son or daughter in the war. We got through it. We will get through this. You're 21. These are the best years of your life. Be concerned, but live your life. Meet a special someone, settle down after a while, and have a family of your own. We will get through this. Story 58. This is going to sound corny, but the first step is to get away from the news. Most of it is designed to elicit an extreme emotional response. They aren't just giving you the facts. It's all heavily colored by their network's opinions. As you move away from this manufactured drama, I recommend religion. For me, the ritual and fellowship that come from my faith, along with the guidelines for how to live my life, help keep me centered. For me, that has been Roman Catholicism, but I encourage you to investigate and find something that makes the most sense to you and helps you grow the most. Now that you've removed the distraction of impending doom and shifted your focus internally, it's time to add studies in simple philosophy like Stoicism. Add to this new internal discipline physical self-discipline. Exercise and routine can do wonders for mental health. If after implementing all of this, or if you find implementing it too much, see a psychiatrist and get your blood work done. See if there is a chemical or genetic element affecting how you feel, and follow their recommendations to help you counter it. Also, build and maintain a close group of male friends in real life who can help push you to grow and will check in on you if you start to backslide. Keep up and maintain hobbies. You may find that as you focus more on yourself, you have more energy to help others and improve the world around you. I hope this was helpful. Story 59. I understand feeling hopeless, but try to focus on the present moment. Find activities you enjoy and be fully present. Thinking too much about the future can be unhealthy. Story 60. Mostly just trying to ignore the horrible things and focus on the positive things in life. Traveling with my husband. My husband himself, of course. Enjoying good food. Cuddling. Luckily, we do not encounter a lot of homophobia where we live, so that definitely helps. Actively avoiding the negative side of the news also tends to help. Story 61. Turn the news off. Most of it is just clickbait. Just look around you locally to see that the world is 90% in working condition. If possible, have a look outside of your comfort zone in your country of residence. For example, if you are in the European Union or the United States, travel to South America or Asia. You will see that 99% of the problems you think exist are not there. I come from the Netherlands, where many people are becoming very anxious about multiple crises that no one even hears about in Asia. Spending a year outside your bubble is so refreshing you might never want to return. Stop watching the news, stop social media, and focus on your own life and connections with your partner, friends, and work. Godspeed, young man. The world is a big place and most of it is nice. Story 62. These days, I do not focus on what is going on around me so much anymore. I try to focus on one day at a time. Work, save money, continue paying my bills, and deal with problems as they arise. It has helped me through a lot. Having the goal of buying a house keeps me going. It seems impossible now, but regardless of whether I try or not, time will still pass. It is better to have spent that time doing something rather than nothing. Story 63. If you have a couple of hours to spare, lay back and listen to this. Trust me, just listen to this. Story 64. I am 26. Without my parents, I would be living with them or homeless. I have complex post-traumatic stress disorder, called off my wedding 8 months ago, borderline personality disorder, and panic disorder. The key is to take it one day at a time. Tomorrow is another day, and you never know what can happen. Was yesterday bad? Maybe today will be good. I like to believe in karma too, that sometimes I suffer so I can experience pleasure. In my life, it seems to work well. Story 65. I am 25 years old, and what I did was stop looking at the news. It only made me upset about things I cannot control. If something is important enough, someone else will tell me. Another thing about the news is that they like to spread stories about negative events because it gets more views and causes people to scroll endlessly. Things are usually better than they seem. Also, look at some positive facts about the era we live in. For example, fewer people today live in extreme poverty than ever before in human history. Story 66. Turn off the news. Find something you enjoy and take some time for yourself. Breathe and relax. The world is messed up and full of problems. It always has been. It is not your responsibility to fix them. You cannot fix everything. All you can do is be a positive influence on the world and hopefully put more good than bad into it by the end. Sometimes you just go to work, come home, have a beer, make a fire, listen to some music, call your father, do some dishes, and read a book. That is enough. That is life. That is all you are expected to do. Someone needs help, you help them. Someone needs cheering up, you make them laugh. Someone needs a ride, you give it. And you just live. Story 67. Turn off the news, leave those community groups, and get some therapy. Find some hobbies and spend time outdoors. The number of people who do nothing but watch a continuous loop of negative news is appalling. You need to break that cycle. Find a podcast for current events and limit your intake because the media wants to overwhelm you with negativity. Set a hard boundary for content consumption and control what you can. Lastly, find ways to give back to others regularly. As for me, I am a family man. Giving up is not an option. Story 68. When I feel terrible and want to give up, I sometimes go far down the give up rabbit hole. Then I eventually realize I feel worse than before, so I find a way to pull myself out, which can be very difficult sometimes. When I do make some progress, I remind myself that giving up actually makes me feel worse, and pulling myself up is harder than just staying afloat. I don't always listen to myself and sometimes give up again, but so far I have always eventually realized life is better when I try, even in small ways or on small things. Story 69. The fact that you are alive is a literal blessing. As long as you are alive, you can explore this playground we call life. I have been depressed at around that age. Lysergic acid diethylamide, 3, for methylenedioxymethamphetamine, and being incredibly honest with myself helped me out of my depression. Mental health is a practice just like physical health, and neither is something you are immediately good at. You are not nearing the end, you are just getting started. Story 70. Mostly, I think about how badly my ancestors would roast me if I let the meager issues of today do to me what chattel slavery failed to do to them. But really, what does the state of the world have to do with my joys? That's what we're here for. The bad stuff is just in the way. You move it away as best you can and keep doing the important things. I'm not saying not to care about current events, but you can care too much. You shouldn't be unable to enjoy a nice moment just because somebody else can't. Story 71. Same as it has always been. It is nothing new, and seeing the reality of the world is a common experience everyone goes through around your age. I have seen it all before, and it is kind of boring at this point because when I look around, it is not even close to everywhere. Most people are living normal lives. The working class is always upset because they know they are being used. The wealthy still run everything. The government is always full of corruption. Same old, and it is lame. Toughen up and get the life you want, or just worry about the stuff they feed you online and let it get you down. Story 72. Live in your world, not the world. Things are difficult out there. Sure, but if I cannot change them, I do not worry about them. Help where you can and be kind to people. There are many beautiful things and people out there. Social media and the news do not show you that part. Find those on your own, and it is far more fulfilling. Story 73. Journey before destination. Friend, the destination only arrives at the end. If I have lost everything else, I will crawl forward because it is not the end until I let it be. I used to always tell myself that life is absolutely difficult in the moment, but future me will have it figured out. He will find love, a good job, and happiness. If I give up, then he never has the opportunity to find those things, so I struggle on. Story 74. Be grateful for everything good in your life and do not dwell on the past or mistakes you have made. That is how I keep depression away. Story 75. I have been clinically depressed for over 10 years. I have lost all hope of ever being content, let alone happy. I just do my best to ignore all thoughts on the matter by focusing on other things. Story 76. The world has had good and bad things happening before you were born. Do not act like you are special. Your doom scrolling is one of the biggest problems. Let me share a secret with you. This will never change. Bad news sells. Story 77. Focus as much as possible on things you can control and as little as possible on things you cannot. Do not try to learn about the state of the world if it makes you anxious. Story 78. The world has been much worse for most people who lived before us. The vast majority faced horrors we can only imagine. Most men died by murder or warfare until the last couple thousand years. And it's not like those years have been easy. Mongol hordes killed 50 million people savagely. Crusader armies filled mosques to the ankles with the blood of murdered women and children. The Muslims they were fighting castrated their own officers' children because troops didn't march in a straight line. Regular people had no real rights other than those they could take by force until fairly recently. The age of revolution began less than 200 years ago. The shaking off of 1,000 years of serfdom, where a lord could cut you apart and rape your wife on a whim and then move on with his life as if it were a normal day. Many of those revolutions failed, so serfdom continued. Despite all this, people persevered to earn us the right to complain about the state of the world, an act that would have gotten many of them killed in their time. You are the result of their determined efforts. They would hate it if you let current events keep you down. You may think the world is bleak, and maybe it is, but it has been far worse for humans for tens of thousands of years. We have lived with light at the end of the tunnel. Most human beings have not. But we are still here. Story 79. Try having days where you feel like that at 31 or 41. You will have those feelings with the added bonus of feeling like you are running out of time, whether true or not. You just have to keep moving forward, process the feelings as passing emotions not necessarily based on logic, and reground yourself psychologically. Think of what you want to accomplish in the next 5 years and what you need to start doing today to have a chance. Reevaluate the situation as needed. Story 80. Maybe you need to get offline and spend time outdoors. I'm not trying to exaggerate. If the weight of a world that doesn't directly affect you is too much to bear, then there is no harm in distancing yourself from it. Find hobbies. Go to the library and read books. Volunteer your time. Learn to do new things. The bottom line is that social media has turned everyone into half-narcissistic individuals who believe their opinions need to matter. This fuels the hyper-individualistic people who are currently in power. Sorry, but your opinions do not really matter that much, and if you want your actions to matter, then find a charity and help them. If you have free time to complain on the internet, then you have time to do other things. Story 81. I'm 35. Here's some advice. Take it or leave it. It's up to you. Nihilism won't get you very far. Deep down, we all know that life has no inherent meaning. There is no God. Explain to me why babies die, why good people suffer so much. Case closed, I'd say. The point is to be the reason people forget the bad things going on. Be cool, positive, and hopeful. That will get you far, not just in the world but within yourself. Anger will destroy a man. I've seen it firsthand. Some of my angriest temperament-wise friends are still single, childless, and have had no real relationships in years. Women don't want that. My friends who are doing the best on the surface have long-term relationships, kids, and are kind, stable, calm dudes who never start fights. You get it. You're very young. Try to be the change the world needs. Even if it's just you impacting your close family and friends, it will cause a ripple effect. Story 82. As everyone points out, turn off the news. Most of it is unimportant, though I still follow the business news. I think of life as a game, and you have to slog or grind through to get to the other side. But even as you deal with the monotony and details of life, you are still growing, though at a slower pace. One day you will be aware that you are making decisions and they are correct. This comes from instinct and experience. So go forth and grow old. You too can become wise beyond your years. You will still have to wash the dishes and do your laundry. Story 83. Just worry about yourself. Once you are happy with yourself, only then do you start worrying about anything else. Story 84. You just have to be really selfish. Just care about yourself and ignore everything and everyone else. You have to learn not to care about things. Story 85. Life is scary, but I can figure it out. Death is scary because it is completely unknown. I will solve that mystery eventually. I have no desire to speed it up when there is still a possibility of figuring things out here. Story 86. Just get a girlfriend, to be honest. Takes the edge off. If I am not where I want to be by the time I am 35, I will end it. Until then, I am doing everything in my power to end up where I want to be. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.